The Americans fighting him, when you look at the West fighting, what is Ibrahim Traore's role in all that? When you look at the Americans fighting him, when you look at the West fighting him, they're not just fighting him, but they're fighting what he represents. Because he's very vigilant, extremely vigilant, the recent coup d'etat couldn't work. But I guarantee you, if he had not been that vigilant because of what happened to Sankara, the recent coup d'etat would have worked. He may not have the support of other heads of state who are mostly corrupt anyway, but now he knows that he has the support of Africans, ordinary Africans. And that's good news for Africans because we know exactly how imperialism behaves. We are not going to be caught now.
This is a small extract from what DJ Bawali shared about Ibrahim Traore and the powerful forces working against him. Discover why Traore's leadership is shaking the continent and why many African presidents are staying silent. The full story will surprise you.
NATO itself.
If you're a man over 30 who makes at least 150 grand a year and you're still embarrassed to take your shirt off at the pool, you're...
And of course the US, what they always do is to then work with the local people who are opposing somebody that they don't like. So that they are puppeteers, they are master puppeteers. Yes. People need to understand that imperialism is in love with puppeteering. They are master puppeteers because when you're a puppeteer, you're pulling the strings from behind the scenes. You're not even in front, you're just behind the scenes. The one sure way of demoralizing the Africans who are being awakened in this current moment is to actually not only destabilize Burkina Faso and other African countries, but in the case of Burkina Faso, to drastically weaken Ibrahim Traore and even commit the ultimate sin, of taking him out. They realize that all that would really demoralize Africans because he represents this new Africa that the African people are completely ready for and completely embracing.
Yes.
But here's the thing, Lynn. Victor Hugo was a French writer, a French historian, a French poet and essayist, and he said that no force on earth can stop an idea whose time has come. Now, the Westerners seem to forget that although it's Victor Hugo who said it, it is actually true that no force can stop an idea whose time has come. They forget that their own person actually said that they cannot stop Ibrahim Traore and they cannot stop the Africans today who embody that similar spirit of yearning for a new Africa, which is why in this scenario, you see, they tried to behave in exactly the same way. Remember, I've just told you that imperialism is a bad student that repeats the same mistakes and the same habits over and over again. And one of the habits that imperialism is really keen on doing all the time, one of the things that imperialism does here in Africa is to destabilize African governments. And one of their favorite weapons is coup d'etat. They love coup d'etats. Lynn, there have been at least 214 coup d'etats in Africa since the 50s. Many of these coup d'etats were actually instigated by the imperialists, including the US of A. They were actually instigated and they were totally behind those coup d'etats. Every time they saw an African leader becoming strong or not dancing to their tune, they would instigate a coup d'etat. They would, in the name of training, be very careful every time that America or Britain or France claim that they are training African soldiers on whatever, because embedded in this training are usually ideologies and building connections so that they get to know that they have people that they can always remote control when the right time comes. Because history is littered with instances with African soldiers who went for training, came back to Africa, and then led coup d'etats to remove leaders who are no longer dancing to the tune of the imperialists. So in this scenario, they tried that same thing. About a week or so ago, they actually tried a coup d'etat in Burkina Faso because it's a tool that they keep leaning on. So what they have done in this scenario is to have a situation where the Burkinabe people are already tired. The Burkinabe people are tired not of Ibrahim Traore, but of the insecurity that is in their country. Africans need to understand that the main thing that brings the US and Africa together are their own selfish interests for their national security. That's about it.
Period.
Everything else revolves around that. Even whatever humanitarian support they provide occasionally, it is all meant to just beef up protecting their national security interests. These people like controlling Africa through narratives. And what they do with people like Ibrahim Traore and previously somebody like Magufuli or even Gaddafi before him is when they say that you're in power illegitimately, when they create a narrative that then shows that you're in power illegitimately, with time, it starts to take hold. These things are very, very powerful. Anybody who is a master, an expert in advertising, will tell you that anything repeated over and over and over becomes the truth. It totally becomes the truth. So we must stop calling the Burkinabe government that the junta, the military junta there. So this guy, he used the word, the military junta is protecting itself using the reserves, the gold reserves. And he specifically mentioned Traore, Capitan Traore. Now, that might appear like it's just an anomaly, you know, but the reason I explained that this was a hearing in the U.S. Armed Forces Committee is because it is now on record. And when it is on record in the second arm of the U.S. government, the legislature, it is bordering policy. When they start branding Traore as a criminal because he's stealing the gold of his people, of Burkina Faso, to protect himself, then slowly they're achieving two things: building a narrative that this government is illegitimate, but also, and more sinister, more lethal, what they're also doing is to begin to lay the groundwork of taking action. Now, let me remind people that in January 2024, the same General Michael Langley showed up in Chad. And while in Chad, he met the military leaders in Chad, because Chad remains one of the few West African countries that still has a military cooperation with the US of A. So this same general went to Chad in 2024.
Guys, if you're here in Pennsylvania and are looking for a new AC system, maybe because your current old unit isn't keeping up with the...
Remember, 2024 January, Traore was now being accepted globally as a different kind of a leader.
Yes.
So these people are very painstaking in positioning themselves and the action they take. The reason he was in Chad was to ostensibly agree on a military cooperation. So as we speak, there are special forces of USA in Chad. There are special forces of USA in Côte d'Ivoire as we speak. Côte d'Ivoire is a neighboring country to Burkina Faso. So Africans should learn to join the dots, should learn to look at the facts and understand that, again, we go back to Thomas Sankara. Imperialism being a bad student, imperialism having the habit of repeating its tactics over and over because they have run out of ideas. So when you look at that, you begin to see now imperialism behaving as it has behaved before. Because now we have the US Special Forces in Côte d'Ivoire.
Yes.
We have the US Special Forces in Chad. And they are saying that the government in Burkina Faso is a criminal government because it is using proceeds from the gold to protect itself. So when you begin to join these dots, you begin to realize that this is not about conspiracy theories, neither is it about paranoia, but clearly there's something brewing. There's something happening.
Yes.
The difference with what has been happening in the past is that Africans are awakening. Because 2 days ago, on April 30th, Wednesday, Africans and people across the world responded to General Michael Langley's assertion during that hearing, when there were all those demonstrations in Burkina Faso, in Britain, in Kenya, across the world. There were all those demonstrations in support of Ibrahim Traore and what he represents. And many of them were saying, hands off Ibrahim Traore. So that's the difference this time. Previously, all these things would be happening beneath the radar. And then one day you wake up to the headline, coup d'etat in Burkina Faso. Or God forbid, something even worse than that. But now people are awakening. Now, what people have to do is to go further. The genesis of Burkina Faso's problems goes back to when NATO attacked Libya. And then after NATO attacked Libya and Libya collapsed, the jihadists then poured into the Sahel. And when they poured into the Sahel, what the imperialists, in this scenario, France, NATO itself, and of course the US, what they always do is to then work with the local people who are opposing somebody that they don't like, so that they are puppeteers, they are master puppeteers.
Yes.
People need to understand that imperialism is in love with puppeteering. They are master puppeteers, because when you're a puppeteer, you're pulling the strings from behind the scenes. You're not even in front, you're just behind the scenes. So what happened is that they have taken advantage of these jihadists. But they're the same ones who are arming these jihadists. They are the same ones who have taken advantage of historical enmities and natural environment-induced enmities, because that's a very dry region. So sometimes some of these communities used to fight over resources, but now there's that jihadist angle. But behind all that is the enablement of the imperialists in the entire Sahel region. And that was even long before Traore became president. By the time he joined the army after he finished university, Burkina Faso was already fighting these jihadists. So when you understand that historical context, that the genesis of it was NATO itself attacking Libya, ostensibly to take out Gaddafi, but then opening the region completely to these jihadists. And then for several years, Lynn, they themselves brought boots on the ground. French soldiers came, They were unable, in a very suspicious manner, unable to defeat these jihadists. So here's the thing. If they really were fighting the jihadists genuinely, of course they would have defeated them. They totally would have. But they were just putting on that semblance of fighting the jihadists and then maintaining the instability in the region. Then now when these revolutionary leaders took over, from Assimi Goïta to now Traore himself, these leaders, of course, kicked out France, kicked out America.
Yes.
Now, they simply retreated back to what they are really good at, fighting from behind the scenes. That is one of the reasons it's very hard to get rid of these jihadists, because they have their sponsors, they have people who are enabling them. And remember, the sad truth is that the US alone, its defense budget is more than all the other 10 countries combined. They spend a lot on new equipment. They are really technologically savvy in terms of whether it is drones, whether it is precision missiles that have to hit their target. Sadly, the US, has invested a lot in that. So when you have a situation where they're enabling, in very clandestine ways, enabling these jihadists, then it becomes really difficult. And that then brings me to something that Africans really have to understand. Africa continues to be a beggar in the grand scheme of things, globally speaking. Now, all that is really complicated, Lynn, because remember, these jihadists, I told you that their backers own some of the best ever military weapons in the world, because we're talking America, France. I mean, these people manufacture these weapons. So when you're faced with a situation where the Burkina government under Ibrahim Traore has to keep contributing money, has to keep taking money from development, from different areas to fund the weapons that they have to purchase, to fund this warfare, then it becomes very difficult. We are at least 1.2 billion people in Africa, at least. And from this, at least half of these people, 600 million, are now conscious of a new Africa. So if these people commit to contributing even $5 every month, then they cannot do anything to Burkina Faso, because now they'll have a lot more better. And that war against the jihadists.
But everyone has a different story to tell.
What do you think is
which says it's
Ibrahim
neutral.
Traore, the leader African?
The Tampa market.
Inspiring rise.
In Northeast Africa, precisely on the horn of Africa.
All right, folks, once again, good afternoon. This is Frank. I am your host. This is the Revolutionary Repatriation Educational Lecture Series aspect of WCC. Once again, thank you for coming on a today's show, Sunday, 1 p.m., where we preach the gospel. Yes, I said the gospel, right? Oh, man. All right. Today's topic, you know, we're going to go on the African continent, right? And then we come back, okay, to the America, all right, to the diaspora. So we're going to go back, okay, on the African continent, and then get back on a plane, right, or which other means, right, and then come right back, right, and then talk about it here, and then go back again on the African continent, and then now to that topic, it says Trump, the president of the United States, the president of America, pay respect to Ibrahim Traore. Oh, man. The president of America pay respect to the AES nation. Pay respect to Ibrahim Traore. Then the African Democratic Nation. The president of the United States, Donald Trump, does not respect democratic nation in Africa, but rather he respects. Ibrahim Traore. He respects Assimi. He respects the AES nation, the president of the United States. The question then become, we're preaching, right? We're preaching. Don't worry, we're preaching. The question then become, why will Donald Trump pay respect to Ibrahim Traore, Geita, or Asemi Geita and Tiani, when the whole war, some of the people ignorantly sat down there and called these three nations, these three governments, names that you even search, you can find it in dictionary. Names that they themselves invented only because they wanted to frame and tarnish these leaders so that these countries, citizens, can go against these leaders, so that the imperialists can put in governments that will serve and dance to the tune of Washington, D.C. Why Daniel Trump respect these leaders that they call jointer. And by the way, we've been saying this. These leaders are not jointer. They are not cool leaders. They are revolutionary leaders. They are not cool leaders. They are government by the people. Government for the people. And that is why the people protect them. But again, the question is, why will the United States president over all office respect Ibrahim Traore? Then the so-called African Democratic Nation, why Daniel Trump met with the leader of Burkina Faso, but Daniel Trump did not humiliate the leader of Burkina Faso. But Daniel Trump met with the so-called democratic African nations, and Daniel Trump humiliated them. Now, the truth is, Daniel Trump did not meet with Ibrahim Traore. You know, Ibrahim Traore is not going to come here. You know, Ibrahim Traore is not going to be the second Gaddafi. Let me remind you, you know, when Obama became president, yes, when Obama became president, Gaddafi taught his brother from the other side of the ocean, the black man has now become president of the US. So Gaddafi thought, with all due respect, his protection was 100% because there was a black man in office. Little did he know that having a black face serving in the office of the imperialist, that doesn't mean you are safe with your own brother. If he knew, maybe Gaddafi could have been alive today still. So he gave himself to Obama many times, many days. And after he was comfortable, Hillary Clinton said to Obama, "You slave, it is time to go do your job." And when Obama did his job, killed Gaddafi and destroyed Libya, Hillary Clinton sat down and said, "We went, we saw, and we killed." And Hillary Clinton said, "We been behind Gaddafi for 30 good years to kill him. We been behind Gaddafi for 30 good years to unalive him." Hillary Clinton said, "We been behind Gaddafi for 30 years to delete his breaker." Hillary Clinton said, "We been behind Gaddafi for 30 years to expire him." And indeed, under Barack Obama, who he thought Barack Obama was his brother, and he opened it, and Barack Obama took the shot. That is not going to happen to Ibrahim Traore. Ibrahim Traore was not in America. And I can trust you, I can tell you, Ibrahim Traore is not coming to America. Now, let me say this. No one is against America. And no one will ever be against America. No one is against, let me say this. No Africans, nations, no African is against America, and no African nations or black people will ever be against America. Absolutely not. So we will make that clear here. The same way we love China, the same way we love Russia, the same way we love any other nation in the world, and we wish to do business with them, that is the same way we love America. And we love to do business with America. But we just want to tell America and her England, it is not business as usual. And if you think we are telling America it is not business as usual, and then you think we hate America, then so be it. You can take your own interpretation and go with it. But the truth is, we will do business with anybody we want to do business with. That is our positions, and that is our stand. We are not against America, and we will never be against America. Listen to this. If anybody is against Africa, we will say this. I think it should be that Washington, D.C. Because for each time Washington, D.C. bring her policy, her ideas to the table, when Africans bring their policy, their ideas to the table, if Washington, D.C. feel that it is not in her interest, Washington, D.C. don't listen to the Africans nations. And I don't blame Washington, D.C. for that either. No. You know, it was those days that we will sit and keep blaming Washington, D.C. It was those days. No. We will not blame America in all cases. We will blame the Africans leaders. We will blame ourselves. We will blame the African so-called journalists who carry the narrative. We will blame those people to some extent. Because listen to this. Even as much as we will be here to criticize the United States, we have to educate our African leaders in authorities, our writers, our journalists, our historians on the reality. So, if United States thinks that when we are speaking in our interests, because everyone speaks in their interests, and that is why we are going to go on the African continent and then come back in the US and see the interests that we are talking about. We are just putting it in the face of Washington, D.C. African people speaking of their right. African people speaking of their freedom. African people taking a rightful place in the world. And African people want to do things in accordance with their struggle and not rely on the U.S. for crumbs. If they think that's a hate, then so be it. Now, let's go to the article, all right? Let's go to the article. Let me pull the article out, then we get started. Now, let me say this. I don't know if people have paid attention or are paying attention. Somebody may say, why will Burkina Faso authority meet with Donald Trump to the White House? Don't get it twisted, folks. Somebody might say, Burkina Faso betrayed us because Burkina Faso was not to meet with Washington, D.C. or was not to meet with President Trump. Don't get it twisted. Listen. The fact that you have an embassy, Burkina Faso have an embassy here. Oh man, this is WCC, man. I love doing this. We love doing this. The fact that Burkina Faso still have an embassy in the US, there's no way the US do away with Burkina Faso. And there is no way Burkina Faso do away with the US. The only way that will happen, unless the US decide that we no longer want Burkina Faso embassy in the US, then that means the US is telling Burkina Faso, we no longer want to do business with you. Then in that case, Burkina Faso will remove her embassy, pack her satokas, and go back to Africa, go back to Burkina Faso. And in the same way, I believe my leader, he will tell the US too, well, you say you don't need us. You don't want our embassy in your country. So that means we can do business. In the same way, pack your embassy and go back to your country because we can no longer do business. But that is not the case here, folks. So the United States still have an embassy in Burkina Faso, and Burkina Faso still have an embassy here. So business got to go on. But listen to this, folks. You have a leader called Ibrahim Traore. Boy. I love that guy. That's the kind of leader we want to serve Africa. That's the kind of leaders we want to represent the African people. And that is why not even Ibrahim Traore, but the ambassador of Burkina Faso met President Trump at the White House. See the way President Trump embraced the ambassador Koulibaly. Look at Donald Trump's facial expression. You know, when Donald Trump met the so-called African Democratic leaders, and we call them Democrats because they are puppets. All the democratic nations in Africa, they are all puppets. There is no democratic nation on the African continent because all of them, they are puppets. Any nation you see in Africa that they call democrat or democracy, they are all puppets of the West. They are enemies of the African nations. They are enemies of their own nation because they are not serving the interest and the purpose to which they serve. The same way the West can look at Ibrahim Traore, Tiani, and Assimi Goïta and call them enemies and call their jointer names. It is the same way those African nations on the African continent that call themselves Democrat, they are enemies of the African continent and enemies to their own people in the state they serve because they are not working in the interest of the people. And that is why we call them enemy of the African continent, enemy of the states. Because the people that work for Africa, like the AER nation, the colonialists and the neo-colonialists call those people enemies. But we have measures for them today. We have measures for the so-called AU. We have measures for the so-called ECWA. You know, listen, on this channel, right? One thing I love, we're not biased. We're not here to be bashing the West. We're tired bashing the West. This channel is about solution. And sometimes the solution is tough. This channel is about love. And sometimes love is tough to talk about. Because we have come to realize that what the West do, it is in their interest. And they will never stop doing it because it is their survival. That is what we have come to realize. And we are telling our African continent or our African leaders, what do you need to survive for? Because the truth is, the Western world will never, ever get tired of what they are doing because it is their survival. So how long are we going to come here, sit here, and be talking, oh, America did this, Washington, D.C. did this, oh, Europe did this, oh, this. Yes, and they will keep doing it because that is their survival. So what is our survival as African? What are we surviving on? What is our stand as African? So we are not in a game of blaming the West every time when the West do it, because they will continue to do it. We are here, although, to point it out, to expose them, but equally so, to let our leader in power know the solution. Know that these people are not your friend. Knows that when you operating with these people, this is how you need to operate. That is our stand. Now, let's get to the article. Let's get to the article. I love this article. I love the AES nations. Folks, we have leaders on the African continent now. We have leaders, at least for once, in a long time coming. Let's read here. Burkina Faso ambassador. Burkina Faso ambassador to the U.S. Oh, sorry. Burkina Faso ambassador to U.S. present letter of credence to Trump. Present letter of credence to Trump. Now, what was in our letter that make it credence? What was in our letter that make it important? You know, let me say this again. Let me put the camera on my face here. Let me put the camera on my face. Do you know the reason why Trump humiliated those so-called African democratic nations when they came here, especially Liberia? Because they came with nothing. They came to beg. They came with nothing. They came to beg. And time with our numbers, Trump have told these so-called slaves that call themselves African leaders on the African continent, I am not a charitable organization to give charity or to give funds to charity or to charity or whatsoever. Trump, time to time, have said to African nations, if I can dissolve my own organization called USAID, and I said, money will not come from my government to them. That I want to tell you, I will not give you money, you so-called Negro shithole African. Sorry for the language, but that was the word. So when you coming to meet Donald Trump, you should know how you coming. You should know who you coming to meet. He's a man of business because he's a businessman. This man have a principle. So when the Burkinabese authority or delegate or ambassador went to meet Trump, they met Trump because Burkina Faso mean business as well. Because Burkinabese mean business as well. Those are the kind of leaders we want. Donald Trump, see the respect Donald Trump gave to the people. And let me say this because I may not even have the time to cover it all because it have come. Let's go to the African leaders. Do you see how Washington, D.C., I mean, ECWA and AU, did you see how Washington, D.C. and Europe made you to go knock head, to go as enemy to your brothers and sisters? To the extent your brothers and sisters do not believe you again, do not trust you anymore. They don't want to do business with you anymore. To the extent the AES nation have to leave ECWA. Because Washington, D.C. send you. Because Europe sends you. Once upon a time, Washington, D.C. and Europe, they even have pledged or alleged. Let me use that word. Let me use that word. It was alleged that they gave their full support ammunition to ECWA to go wage war on Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. And at that time, Nana Akufo-Addo, names like Tinubu, names like Al-Assad, names like Ouattara, they all gave up together to go wage war on Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. And today, those nations do not recognize most of the West African nations, especially ECWA, because they have created enmity with those people to the extent hosting jihadi-backed terrorists by the West, backed by the West. They have been alleged by Ibrahim Traore. Let me use that word again. Oh man, we will use the word alleged. It is a word, right? We need to put alleged behind it, right? Anyway, we'll put it there, but our people understand. Today, those African nations cannot stand in the face of their brothers and sisters, the AES, to talk to them. But here it is. The same West, the same Washington, D.C. that made you to hate Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso to the extent when the African leaders are doing things, inviting other African nations, they never ever invite Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. But here it is. Washington, D.C. is creeping in, making peace. Washington, D.C. is creeping in, making peace for their own interests. Meanwhile, it was the same Washington, D.C. that made you to hate your brothers and sisters. And now, because of the interest of Europe and Washington, D.C., they have to bow down. Yes, they have to bow down to Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. Why are you there struggling to make peace with them? Because you are so dumb and stupid. Let's read here. Burkina Faso ambassador to U.S. present letter of credence to Trump. Let's read. So, this is Trump in the White House office, Trump office, and this is the ambassador of Burkina Faso, Ambassador Coulibaly. Now, Ambassador Coulibaly, unlike the all African nations, so-called democratic, that came in coat suit, that came in a white man clothes, dressed up, thinking that, especially my president from Liberia, thinking that when he come in coat suit with that, right, he was going to get millions of dollars from Trump. While he sat down there, told Trump, all we need, Liberia have mineral resources. Liberia have abundant resources. So Liberia wants you, Trump, your administration, to come and go do survey of our resources. Oh my God. Sorry, folks. You know, these leaders on the African continent, some of these leaders are so interesting. He left, our president, Liberia, left Liberia, flew over the seas in air, 16 hours or beyond that. Met Trump to tell Trump, We want you to come to survey our resources. Oh, God. Oh, man. So funny. How did we get there? For real. How did we get to the point of having such a leader? And this question goes to the Liberian people. But anyway, I'm saying Liberia, right? Because that's my country. So-called colonial names, right? But other African leaders were there. All of them dressed in the suit the Queen gave them, right? The Queen of England gave them to dress in suit. But do you see the ambassador of Burkina Faso? This man is in a military clothes, right? There's a military clothes here, but just being designed or how they call it, crafted, right? Not in a way that you see Ibrahim Traore dress complete military stuff outfit, right? But this is a military design. So the embassy, the Burkina Faso embassy in the US, like we've been saying, every embassy in your country, it is actually the government of that country in your country. You see it? It is the government of that country in your country. So you know how Ibrahim Traore dress and then where he moved. So you have to represent the man to whom you are representing. So this is a military cloak on this man. He have his hat, his military hat. Right? Let's continue. There are plenty of things to this. Let's continue. That is, look at Trump. See Trump here. Trump is happy meeting this man, you so-called African Negro slave leader. You don't want to do business with your African brothers and sisters. You call them joint tie, right? But here it is, the same people that made you to create enemyship for your brothers and sisters. It is the same people now sitting here, making peace, fighting for the interests of America. Which is not a bad thing. Like I said, let me say this. Look, sometimes the truth is, right, I love the West. These people understand the game. I love them. These people know how to do things to survive. And we keep saying this. I'm not against what these people do. They are doing it to survive. Look, it was during those times that every time will be, oh, West Indies, oh, US, oh, what? No. Because if we keep doing that, right, we will keep blaming and we will not find a solution. We will not know where the problem lies. Let's continue here. Let's read here. The ambassador of Burkina Faso to the United States of America, His Excellency Kassoum Coulibaly, presented his letter of credence on Thursday, July 24th, 2025, to the U.S. President Donald Trump. The ceremony took place at the White House, where the Burkinabese diplomat, dressed in combat uniform, where the Burkinabese diplomat, His Excellency Coulibaly, he dressed in combat uniform. That is to tell Trump that, listen, we are all for business. I am not coming to you like a slave or a slave coming to meet his or her slave master. We are done with that. Let's continue. Let's break it down. Let's break it down. Let's continue here. Dressed in combat uniform, handed over his credentials, signed by Captain Ibrahim Traore, His Excellency, the President, the King of Kings of Africa. His Excellency Ibrahim Traore, the dynamic president of Burkina Faso, the dynamic president of the African masses, both home and abroad. His Excellency, the president of Burkina Faso, head of state. Let's continue here. Let's continue. In his letter sent to the State Department as part of a ceremony, Ambassador Coulibaly noted the remarkable quality of relations between our two countries, despite terrorist context on Burkina Faso or Burkina Faso territory. Let's continue here. Let's continue here. You so-called African leaders sit on the African continent and make enemyship with your brother. All right? You guys should sit on the African continent and take the AES nation as your enemies. While the West always play the game, put brothers and sisters together, fight among themselves, right? And then while they are fighting among themselves and they are not paying attention, then the West come in from behind and do what it's supposed to do. And that is why exactly the West, Washington, D.C. currently is doing with the so-called ECOWAS. You know what? And that is why we stand firmly until ECOWAS and AU can desist from the colonial mentality. The two entities will be destabilized and we will dissolve the two entities with the new generation of African breed. Let's continue. Ambassador Coulibaly went as far as to say, in representation of Ibrahim Traore, my country has been facing a security and humanitarian crisis for a decade, unprecedented, followed by terrorist action by the support. Listen to this. I love Ibrahim Traore. By the support group, Islam and Muslim, and 8 satellites, and the names are there, the acronym names are there. Ramification from Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State to the Great Sahara and its connection called with Daesh, which threaten our existence with massacring population and a desire to destabilize the region. And a desire to destabilize the region. Let's continue with this. So, Ibrahim Traore first laid the premises and let Trump know these are the situation we are facing. And these people are being supported by groups, by people. But again, Ibrahim Traore, he knew what he was saying here. But Trump knew exactly what the message was. Who are the people supporting this? I believe so. I want to believe. Let me put it that way. Now, let's continue here. There are more to this. There are more to this. Let's continue here. However, His Excellency Coulibaly explained, the expert in logistics, now you understand who are the experts. Listen to this, right? You know, the West always like to speak in parable. I love Burkina Faso. So when they met Trump, they spoke in parable as well. When they met Trump, they spoke in parable as well. Listen to this right here. Let me go over here and connect you something here. Listen to this. Coulibaly said, my country has been facing a security and humanitarian crisis for a decade, unprecedented. Now, for a decade, right? At that time, the French military there, right? The so-called sophisticated military in the world, one of them. The United States military there, the so-called sophisticated military in the world, one of them. Canadian military there. German military there. I mean, you name all of them. They are all in our region. But they couldn't defeat the terrorists. They couldn't defeat the terrorists. So these leaders spoke in code. And Trump understood because these are people that speak in code. for decades unprecedented. They spoke in code and Trump understood. Now, let's go down here again here. He spoke in code here again and Trump understood. All like these so-called African leaders who will come and be begging. Listen to this. Koulibaly said, however, the expert in logistics, who are the experts? They're not African. Now they say United States, who are the experts? They say Europe, who are the experts? They say French, who are the experts? They say Germany, who are the experts? The West. Listen to this. I love these guys. However, the expert in logistics and peacekeeping. Who is the peacekeeping? The so-called United Nations. I love these guys, man. These guys speaking code. They're not calling name. They're just speaking code. Now, we will break it down and call the name now. And call the name now. The expert in logistics and peacekeeping, security, and military logistics stress that since the advent of Captain Ibrahim Traore, the fight against insecurity has taken a turn. The fight against insecurity has taken a turn. What did they say? After Ibrahim Traore, a segregated tyranny, drove the imperialists out and accused them of funding terrorists. What happened? 10 times around. And I love the English is used here. The expert in logistics and peacekeeping and security and the military logistics stress that since the advent of Captain Ibrahim Traore, the fight against insecurity has taken a turn. But listen to this. These are the kind of leader we love. Now, there are more to this, right? See, in the first place, before we continue, do you see the expression on Trump's face? Do you see how Trump hug or shake this man's head like a man? Not sitting on the table and then pressing Trump's, how to go create coffee in Senegal. The Senegalese president sat down there and said, Mr. Trump, I think, we have to create a coffee in Senegal so that you can create. No, if you want to create a coffee, create it for the people of Senegal. Trump have a lot of coffee in the United States that he don't even know what to do. He's tired of playing with it. Maybe if there's a coffee you want to create for Trump, now you have to create it in space. But on planet Earth, Trump is tired of playing golf. Maybe you should take President Trump in space and create a golf field in space if he's really serious. And that's how President Trump played fool out of them. And one of them said out and they said, we have to vote for Nobel Peace Prize for President Trump. You so-called Africans are so dumb and stupid. Some of you African leaders sat out there and said, we have to vote for Trump to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. And President Trump sat out there and laughed at them and said, we can go all long day for this, but you pressing me, I won't get tired, but I have other things to do. That's not what I'm here for. But on the other hand, do you see man to man? Look at man to man. Man to man. See the attention of President Trump. I mean, look at the attention. Trump is not looking at this man like a black man. Trump is not looking at this man. Look, in the first place, right? This man is not the president. Imagine Ibrahim Traore standing in front of President Trump. Oh my gosh. But see our African head of state that came to meet President Trump. I mean, the African leaders. See how Trump humiliated them and laughed at them. But look at this. This is not even Ibrahim Traore, folks. This is just a representative. How do you call it? A representative. right? Or an ambassador. But see the attention. See how Trump is attentive to this man. See how Trump is looking man to man to man, leader and leader, meeting. Look here. But let's continue. Ibrahim Traore is a great man. Let's continue here. Koulibaly went as far as to address Trump. Koulibaly said, but as you can see in quote, it's actually from Ibrahim Traore, right? Koulibaly said, the leadership, under the leadership of the president of Faso, Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traore, and think with the mobilization of the active force of the nation, significant progress have been made. Now, His Excellency Koulibaly was trying to tell Trump, with the influx or the proliferation of the so-called U.S. military or Marine, the so-called French military or Marine, the so-called British military or Marine, the so-called Canadian military or Marine, they couldn't fight the terrorists. But let's continue here. So he said, much significant progress have been made, have been recorded, particularly in a reconquest of territory, a return progressive of thousands of internally displaced people in their locality original. Let's continue. Burkina Faso is working to build a safe, more sovereign, and more resilient. This man spoke to President Trump not like a slave. Imagine Ibrahim Traore doing this now. Let me read this again. None of these so-called democratic slave African leaders had a gust to speak like this. Burkina Faso is working to build a safe, more sovereign, and more resilient, relying on its own resources. We do not depend on US dollar, IMF, World Bank. We do not depend on crumbs. We do not depend on donation. Oh man, this man came to represent Ibrahim Traore. This man came to represent a sovereign nation. This man came to represent an independent nation. This is what you call independent. This man did not come as a beggar to tell Trump, we beg you, we got this, we got this. First of all, this man is not explaining anything about this. He explaining the progress they have made since they drove out U.S. military, since they drove out French military, since they drove out foreign military. They have made significant progress without anybody help, without no financial assistance. And he's telling Trump, despite all of those things, we are not depending on anybody. I am not here to beg you. I am just here on a diplomatic meeting because we have an embassy here and we have to meet to discuss interests. We are here to build a safer, more sovereign, and more resilient, relying on its own resources. But also, listen to this, but also on strategic partnership based on equality and mutual trust, said Ambassador Koulibaly, His Excellency. Folks, I told you, as long as we have embassy here, we will keep doing business, right? So this man, His Excellency Koulibaly, was telling Trump, we are not against the US, as the media have made it seem, or as other Africans, stupid, dumb-headed head of state, some of them have made it to believe. No, we don't have time for them in the first place. They want to be slave, let them be slave. But I'm letting you know, we are not saying we don't need your presence in Burkina Faso. But it should be based on trust, mutual trust. And it should be based on strategic partnership for equality. Not coming, taking our uranium, selling our uranium, or how they call it, buying our uranium 1 cent, and then you go and sell it to the world market $200. Meanwhile, you buy it from all 1 cent, and even that 1 cent, you suppress and oppress and depress and subjugate us. And then when we want to talk to increase it, you put sanction on us. This man did not come to beg. And then look at President Trump in response to Trump. In response. Because Trump knows without Africa, the United States will not survive. The West will not survive. Look at the response of Trump. In response, President Donald Trump suggested. You see? He suggested. You see the language change? Because normally, they will tell these African leaders, these African democratic leaders, this is what the U.S. wants. This is the U.S. policy. This is what you need to do. But no, President Trump is suggesting. So that means President Trump is telling Ibrahim Traore, we understand you, but equally so, listen, this is our suggestion. What do you think about this? That is to tell you the listing to these nations that you call they are not democratic, and they don't listen to the nation that are democratic or democratic. You see, for the very first time ever for a U.S. president to suggest on a diplomatic meeting with Africans, did Donald Trump ever suggest recently when they met with the 5 African head of state? Did Donald Trump suggest? Okay, let's read. In response, President Donald Trump suggested that our 2 states share an interest in improving the priority of our nations. Now, listen to this. When President Trump met the 5 head of state, the 5 democratic head of state, when President Donald Trump talked about Africa having resources, what did he say? He said, Africa has resources, Africa got this, and it will be in the interest of the United States and our partners. And we broke it down. We said, Trump did not say it will be in the interest of the U.S. and the African continent or those nations. That's what we said, right? You see, Trump listened to our channel. Trump listened to our channel, and Trump knows the leader or the person he's going to meet, not a puppet. Why Trump used nations when he was meeting the Burkina Faso authority, but he did not use nation when he met the 5 head of state. But rather, Trump said those resources in those nations will benefit the U.S., the United States, and their ally. Or their partners. That's what he said. It will benefit the United States and their partners. And we broke it down. We said those partners were those puppet leaders, because the money will go in the pocket of the leader. It will not go to the nation. It will not go to the people. So Trump know that the leader of Burkina Faso served the interest of the nation. That is why he said it will improve the priority of our nation, inclusive, holistically. You see the language? Trump know that those nations they call democratic nation, those nations do not serve the interest of their people. That is why he said our partners. Our partners. Because he know the money or whatsoever deal that they will make with Burkina Faso, it will be in the interest of Burkina Faso. It will be in the interest of Burkina Faso. But deal that they will make with the so-called democratic nation, it will not be in the interest of those nations, but in the interest of the leaders. That's why he called them partners. because it will go in their pocket and they will take those money and bring it back in the West and put it in their bank and put it in their names. That is why he said it will be in the interest of the United States and their partners. But here, Trump know that this nation, this leader or these leaders are working for their people, for the interest of their nations. That is why he said it will improve the priorities of our nation. You see the language? These people know when you are a good leader. Even though they have tried to assassinate him several times, they can. That is also due to the support of the military and the people at large, both home and abroad. So Trump knows. So you see how the language changed? It will be in our interest of our nation. He did not say it will be in the interest of the United States and our partners. Look, we have to protect the leader of the AES, Ibrahim Traore, Assimi and Ibrahim, Tiani. Those people have to be protected. They are our leader, both home and abroad. Let's continue. Daniel Trump also said we have opportunities for collaboration in areas such as trade, energy, mining, and telecommunication. Now, you see the African leaders, like for example, my president of Liberia, he never carried anything like this, but he went there suddenly telling Trump, we want you to come to survey our resources. Senegal president sat down there, we want to open Gulf field for you. Gabon president and Mauritanian president, all of them sit down there talking about they want to vote for Trump to gain Nobel Peace Prize. Trump being a businessman, he understood that these people, they think they come to play on my mind to give them money. But you see how Trump spoke here. We have opportunity for collaboration in areas such as trade, energy, mining, because they need the iron ore, they need the uranium to power. You see that? And then the article said it was on this note that the ceremony of presenting the credentials ended, officially making the entry into office of His Excellency Coulibaly as ambassador accredited to the American government. Look at this. Look at this. These people know leader. So you so-called African leaders on the African continent that look at Ibrahim Traore, Assimi and Tiani as bad leader, look at how now the same people that are making it to hate them. See what they say. It was on this note that the ceremony of presenting the credentials ended, officially marking the entry into office of His Excellency Coulibaly as ambassador accredited to the American government. Yeah. Folks, you see that? Did you see that? Did you see how a leader, this was not even Ibrahim Traore. This was just the ambassador. This was just the ambassador, right? Of course, we know Ibrahim Traore is not going to get on plane anytime soon to come to the U.S., to come to the West. All right? The imperialists. He's not saying he's not going to do business, but he will send his people. You saw how he got on plane because Ibrahim Traore, he go to where he feels safe. He went to Russia, right? Because he feels safe. So anything that he wanted, he sent his ambassador. He directed his ambassador what was, and his ambassador went and represented him well. That's how a leader behaves. That's how a leader behaves. And first, I can tell you this for sure. Ibrahim Traore will not give resources out free to anybody. I mean, Burkina Faso embassy is here. So if Trump call, I mean, he have to go. His embassy is here. If Trump want to see, you know, let's be frank here. Like I said, look, Black people are not here to create enemyship for anybody. No. Our message here is, it is time we're taking our place. It is time we're taking our belonging. It is time we're taking our heritage, or our inheritance, our resources. It is time we're making decisions for ourselves. It is time we be the boss. That's all. We don't hate nobody, and we are not going to hate anybody. We are not saying we're not going to do business with anybody. No. We're going to do business with everybody regardless. I mean, if only you agree to our policy, if only you agree to our demand, because we have it. You don't have it. We don't have it. So if you are coming to do business, you don't tell us what to do. We tell you what to do. Now, if you say no, then you go by your business. We don't care. That is our stand. So we love everybody to come. But as you coming, it is not business as usual. So if you see that, say it is not going to be business as usual, and you think we hate you, we don't like you, or we like other people who understand our policy, who understand our demand, who understand what we are giving to them, and then you think we're taking those nations over you, it is up to you. Because the truth is, we will keep reminding you of the past. That is just the truth. We will keep reminding you of the what? The past. And even the present. That's just it. So if we keep reminding you of the past and the present, and you think we hate you, so be it. Because that is what history is meant for. History is meant to be a companion. History is meant to be a guardian to you. History is meant to be like a dictionary to you, so that you can't be repeating. So that if you want to do business again with the West, you have to go back in history and see, okay, we did business with them before, but what happened? They came to enslave us. Okay, we did business with them before. What happened? They came, they colonized us. Okay, we did business with them before. What happened? They came, they killed all our democratic leaders. Okay, we did business with them before, but then what happened? They don't agree to us. They put sanction on us when they don't agree. That is what history is for. Then now we look at why they enslaved us. What was the reason? What did we do wrong? That is why it's there for. Even as we pointed fingers, we will also look at what we did wrong before you enslave us, so that we can't do those things again anytime we want to do business with you. Because we want to look at why you exploit us when we try to do business with you. Where did you go wrong? So that you can exploit us again. That is what history is there for. And we will keep going back there. And we'll keep reminding you, oh no, America, oh no, Europe. When you came, we try to do business with you. We open it to you. We did this. You enslave us. You are not fair to us. When you came, you try to do business with us. And you know, we thought after you enslaved us, that was it. We open it again. We did this. Oh no, you can't. You colonize or you divide Africans. Oh no, later on you came back again. We then still go back to land. You came again. You lied to us that these people, they were not serving our interests. What happened? You put us together. Along with you, we assassinated these leaders. The current one, Gaddafi. Oh no, we have to go back to look at again what happened. Robert Mugabe was a partner. Robert Mugabe, in fact, you brought Robert Mugabe to power. In fact, the Queen of England at some point, once upon a time, was the best friend of Robert Mugabe. They ate together, they danced together, they won together. But then what happened? Robert Mugabe became an enemy to you. What happened? You put sanction on Robert Mugabe. So that is what history is for. We have to go back and look at these things. But if we can be best friends, then all of a sudden, then we become enemy. You put sanction on us. Then you start calling Robert Mugabe dictator and all of these things. That is what history is there for, to go back and see what mistake Robert Mugabe did that you call him dictator, that you put sanction, that you did not like him when you the same man that brought Mugabe into power. That is what history is there for. So we are not saying we don't want to do business with the US. We want to do business, but we will remind you that when you come in, it is not going to be the time you came and we did not know you enslaved us. The time you came, we did not know you colonized us. The time you came, we did not know you came over our leader. The time you came, we did not know you sectioned us. You name the rest. We did not know the time you came, you told other nations not to do business with us because you are ally or you are partner to those nations. You see? That is all we are telling America. But if you think we are telling you these things, then you see it as hate. So be it. And so what? You are working what is in your interest. So we Africans, we learn from you too. We want to work what is in our interest. We learn from you. It is about you, so it is about us too. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with fighting for your interest. We have look. We have nothing against you fighting for your interest, for your survival. It is those African leaders who have not yet learned that we have something against. Because they have not yet come to the realization that, listen, this is about us. This is about our interest. They are the one we are angry at. We are not angry with you, America. No. We are angry with the puppet leader. We are angry with the neo-colonialist. We are angry with the people who are writing the African story wrongfully. Those are the people we are angry about. We are not angry about you. We know now, we have come to realize that anything you do, you are fighting for your survival. Although we will point it out, although we will expose you, that for sure we will. But we are not angry with you. And that is a fact. So, to you African leaders, that is what the United States have done. All right? So you better go. You better go and make peace with your brothers and sisters, with the AES, ECWA, AU. You better go do it. Because even Europe has sent delegates. Oh God. Look, what is wrong with we Africans? Why are we going to be youngs? They are the same now. These people will wake up and go make peace. Europe have sent delegates to Burkina Faso to talk to Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, because they can't survive. They are out of light. They are out of mineral. They are out of resources. They have gone. They have sent delegate to speak to these people. In fact, they lie down on the floor to beg these people. You Africans leaders are there talking about you still want democracy. You still want these people to come to democracy. You still want these people to come to captivity, because democracy is captivity. Absolutely, democracy is captivity, because they were used it as a means to manipulate, to put people in power that they want. Oh man. African leaders, wake up. I mean, the democratic nation, wake up. Democracy is not for us. Nowhere democracy is practiced. Because the US don't even practice those things. They don't even know it. And they don't want to know it. But let's continue here. Let's continue to the next article. Now, let's come back to America. All right? Again, what I'm about to show you here, right? I am not angry. And this go in line of what we are just discussing again. These people fight for their interests. Right? What I'm about to show you, I am not angry. Absolutely no, I'm not. I'm not. All right? I'm showing it so that we Black people collectively can learn from them too. That's why I'm showing it. I'm not showing it because I hate what they are doing. No, I don't. I don't. Because you know what? The government support them. And by the way, what I'm about to show you, I know some of you may say, oh, it's happening on a Trump. Well, a Trump, because Trump this, because Trump. No, it's been happening before Trump. It's been happening before Trump. And I will tell you, I believe they are being funded by the government secretly. I believe. I'm not saying I have evidence. I'm saying I believe. I want to believe. It is not just donation. No, it is not just donation. No. So what I'm about to show you, I am not against them. I love it. The people are fighting for them. They are. Oh God, I don't know. Man, let me show this. Let me show this. Now, I'll show this video, right? And then we'll talk about the articles. Then I will show you the article and I will show you the actual place. All right? I will show you the actual place.
KI, I'm 32. I'm a lady.
This is Return to the Land.
My name's Nikki, and I'm 32. I'm a lady.
This is Return to the Land, a group of millennials who organized online to build something radical and controversial. A town for white people only, that they insist is completely legal. We spent several days with them, watching as the men set about the physical labor of building out the site. All the while, the women of the group took on the more typically trad homesteading type roles.
I guess I found the people through Twitter that ended up starting this project, actually spearheading it. And I went out to the first April event last year, and it was really fun.
The sort of white-only aspect of this, how important is that to you guys?
Given the premise that it's something that is kind of off limits for whites, but is okay by implication for other groups, I do feel it's necessary to carve that out, and you kind of have to do it yourself.
It's kind of like if we don't do this, the laws are only getting worse as far as freedom of association goes. So it's kind of like.
Now, let me do this, right? She said, we feel like the laws, you see it, are changing. And if we don't do this, we feel like the freedom of association. First of all, you see, I'm not against, look, I love these people, man. You think it's about equality? It will never be. It have never been since the creation of earth. They have never been about equality. And it will never be about equality. You know, sometimes Black people go, oh, we need to unite. We need to, it's about equality. You know, we are all people. We are all one. Blah, 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 blah. Equality is only with your own. Equality is only with uniting with your own. Equality is only about identifying who you are and unite. So these people have identified who they are. These people feel that Look, the life they lived then during slavery, they love it. So you see it. So they are telling you laws are changing. They don't want it. So they are creating their own time. Oh, you remember 1985 in Philadelphia, the moons bombing? When these people create, when black people started and did their own thing, the bombing, right? The government did it. 1921, Rose Who, again, black time. And the thing about it, right? Those towns that black people from there, they didn't say black only. They didn't say black only. But white people did not want to come and live among black. So it seems that it was black only, right? But with this, it says white only. So that means black cannot go there. So that means you go back to the Jim Crow era. Right? That means you go back to slavery. So they are naming it white only. So they love those days. So when you saw the 1985 where black people were traveling, living to their own place and thing, no, they did not put black only. White people who can live there. But the thing is, they did not want to come live among black. 1920, the Rose Who and stuff, those things. It was not just, they didn't put black on it. No, it was black economy that was thriving. Why you want to come and live there? You come. They didn't tell you no. But the truth is, it was being controlled by black. The economy was controlled by black. So it did not deprive anyone. But unlike this, and you saw or you heard what she said, I'm not against what she said. But again, we will ask the government if, I will put it this way, allegedly, you did not like 1985. And you created a form of a narrative, like you usually do, to use that to destroy them. You create a form of narrative, like you usually do with the Rose Who bombing and many era settlement. But black people, today, it is gone. Are you going to create a narrative too? Now, I'm not saying go do it. No, I'm just asking questions based on history, based on research, right? Like I said, I'm not against what they are doing. Because these people are fighting for their survival. These people see what is necessary for them and they are uniting. What we as black people, what are we doing? We're set on social media, on various platforms, cross one another, each other. You are not this, you are not this, I'm not this, I'm not part of you, I'm this, I'm this. I'm not from Africa, or I'm not from America, or I'm not this, I'm not that. Oh, God. You know, recently, there's things going on about, the FBA talking about boycotting African businesses. And somebody reached out to me, hey, Frank, why are you not talking about this? They want to boycott African businesses. I waited and I listened, right? As a good listener, kept silent. This is wrong. You're talking about boycotting African businesses. And you say you talk about black issues and this around the world, and they're about to this. After he got through speaking, right? And I asked him, so what? That was what I said. And so what? Yes. And so what? And I will say it again. So what? You want me to come and sit here to talk about boycotting African businesses is wrong by black people who don't want to identify themselves as black or who don't want to identify themselves as African. You want me to come here on this platform to come and say oh, you boycotting black, you boycotting African businesses, blah, blah, blah. Me? We are grown for that. I am here to build the black family, but not to divide the black family. Because if I come here to sit here to talk about that, I'm working in favor of the or the colonialists, what they want, because we fight it among ourselves. And I said, listen, let the FBA or let the whosoever want to go boycott African business, let them go do it. In fact, I even told that person they shouldn't just do it August 1st. They should continue it till eternity, till life end. They should continue it. So what? Let them go do it. I don't care. He was like, I said, I don't care. Because listen to this, right? Listen to this. Listen to this. Let me say this. We will always have people like that among us. For example, even on the African continent, not just in the diaspora, even on the African continent, we will always have people like that among us. Always. Yes, because we have people like that among us. That is why Sankara got killed. Because we have people like that among us. That is what Patrick Lumumba got killed. Because we have people like that among us. That is why Nkrumah almost got killed and he was overthrown. Because we have people like that among us. That is why Amilcar Cabral got killed. Steve Biko got killed. Because we have people like that among us. That is why Gaddafi got killed. So we will always have people like that among us. So people like that, we shouldn't pay attention to them. But we can discuss them. But not to go, hey, you hate us. You did this. Because you know what? We are also creating enemyship. I said, let them go boycott it. Now, let them boycott it and see if it will work. If it won't work, that's it. Let them, because at the end of the day, they will get tired. That's not something to waste my breath on. You see it? So, to the FBA or to whosoever that said they want to boycott African businesses, hey, go ahead. But listen to this. You see this term that is being thrown here? FBA, you are black. Because they say white only. You won't go here. You will not go here. And let me say this. You will not create your own town. It will not happen. You will not have a place like this to create your own settlement that you run every damn god thing. Let's continue here.
Like we have to do this, or there might come a time where it's not possible to.
Yeah, you guys are aware, sort of, people are going to be watching. It's going to be controversial.
I think people just have a large misunderstanding of what's happening here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the biggest misunderstanding?
Well,
that we hate everyone else. Like, yeah,
it's not about that.
Yeah,
by any means.
it's a loving movement.
I mean, on that aspect of it being loving, I suppose the counter argument would be.
And let me say this, right? And I will say this. No, girl. Nobody hates you. Yes. Nobody hates you. I mean, you love yourself. It is the truth. Nobody hates you. You see, that is the same thing. When we Africans are trying to do, and you will see some other African, dumb African, will come and sit down and then say, you hate other people. You hate all of this. No. Since the creation of the earth, there have always been division. Even in the Bible, you read the same damn goddamn Bible. There is no unity in the Bible. Unity in the Bible is only relating to race. Unity in the Bible is relating to the 12 tribes of Israel. Those are the people unity for. So if you read the continued Bible, I mean the entire Bible, the unity there is only for Israel, the 12 tribe. And if you're not part of the 12 tribe, the Bible distincts you from them. And the Bible, those that are not part of the 12 tribe in the Bible, what did the Bible tell the Israelites? People who are not part of the 12 tribe, they are your enemy. So there is distinction in the Bible. If you're not part of the 12 tribe of Israel, you are enemies to them. Yes. So the entire Bible is about the 12 tribes. It's not about no other person outside of the race of the 12 tribe. So nobody hates you. In this video, like you said, people will say we hate. No, nobody hates you. And it is the right thing you're doing because you feel it is in the race of it is in the interest of your race. I support what you're doing. I don't care. It is the truth.
It could be a very loving community if you're part of the community, but if you're black or if you're Jewish or if you're gay, you can't be part of that community.
They can have their own communities, and they already do, and I think that's great for them. And it's like if other people are allowed to do it, I don't really see why whites aren't allowed to do it. It doesn't make any sense. So it's important for me to do this for my ancestors, my friends, my family, my children, my children's children.
So you heard that. If anybody can do it, right? Why can't we do it? In fact, he said, we are doing this for the importance of my children, my my ancestor. You know what? That is what their ancestor did. Exploiting other people and saying white only. Because when you have white only, this girl was not alive. In fact, she was never even born. In fact, she was never even around. Nowhere near. But you see, she honored what her forefather did. She honored it. Or they are honoring it. And she was explaining. But you see, let me go this again to the FBA. They are our brothers. I don't care. Right? They are part of the lost tribes. Do you know that the FBA will talk against Malcolm X? Because they do not like the things Malcolm X talks about or he believes. Do you know that they talk against Dr. King? Because they do not agree with what Dr. King stood for? Of continental black, continental unity. They are against W.E.B. Du Bois, continental unity. They are against Marco Garvey, continental unity. But you see this girl. She's talking about we are doing it for our forefather. You see that?
The leader, Eric Orwell, wants the community to grow and further what he calls traditional white American culture. And the group is explicit about this. It has an online fundraiser to give cash rewards to parents of newborns as a means to incentivize population growth. Just before we arrived, they donated $1,000 to a family for having their 6th child.
Is that part of the mission as well, to sort of have...
Okay, let me talk about this again. So do you see the community they are building, right? What is that? Donated thousands of dollars. You see, most of these Africans, black people in general. Now, I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they do not donate some of their money or their money to black issues or to black whatsoever. My point here is most of their money go to white organization. Now again, I'm not saying that is a hate, right? I don't care where their money go. It is their money, right? They can use it the way they want to use it. I don't care. But do you see here the community they are building? Like I said, you don't even know what is going on, man. I want to believe most of these rich white people secretly their money go here. I'm not saying that's what they are doing, but I'm just telling you. I believe maybe. And maybe the government, even maybe, I don't know. I'm just assuming it is not true. Don't come after me. You never know. The government is maybe might be phoning them secret and nobody know.
Have big families to make the community bigger? Is there a sort of pressure there?
I don't feel particularly myself, I don't feel any pressure to like have a big family. I think there's a kind of expectation here that you do want to, as part of helping grow this thing, that you're going to have kids.
Helping to grow these things because we're going to have kids. It is black people who stay running around here, you know, who have not yet found their purpose. That's it. But let's look at the article. Now, you see here, this is 2025. Ah, God. Now, let me say this. This podcast is not about hate, right? This is something happening. We don't preach hate, all right? And I already made a disclaimer. Look, I don't hate what they are doing. I love what they are doing. They are doing it for their interests, all right? So in the same way, when we are talking of our interests, other people see it as hate, right? No, I can be speaking of my interests and people see it as hate. That's their business. So if they are doing what they think is in their interest, me, hey, what it be my concern? That one, it not be my concern though. Hey, it is in their interest. Look, the human's life is based around interest. That's just it. The human's life involve or revolve around interest. What interests you, that's what you go for, even in schools. What you have interest in, that's what you go for, right? Because you have interest in it, you want to build on something. That's what you go for, that's what you study. If you don't have interest in a subject, you will not take it. You will not register that subject, because even if you register it, you are not going to take it serious. You are not going to pass, and it will damage your GPA. It will damage your grades. So that is why even in schools, you go on a school website, you pick subjects, even though they have subjects that you need to take to graduate, right? But you look at what interests you, and you pick it. And what you think you don't like it, you leave it. Life revolve or involve around interest. So why should I hate this? I don't. Maybe the only thing I will hate, don't enslave me, that's all. And it's not going to happen. Don't colonize me, that's all. And it's not going to happen. It happened in the past. It's not going to happen now. And it will not happen in the future. It will not. Maybe that's the only thing I will hate. To think that you will put me back on a plantation. No. But other than that, you can make your time put white on there. Hey, what will be my concern? I will not come there because it is not for black. You said white on it. I will not come there. In fact, thank you for putting the sun. There's a big sun. I will not come because the sun is letting me know, hey, this place is not for you. It's not for black. I mean, trust me. In fact, I will be speeding. Yeah. So I will go and create my own too and put black on it. That's it. I mean, look, I don't even know why people will take this as an issue. Oh, they're creating white UNITA. This no. Go and create your UNITA and put black on it. Go to Africa. I mean, put black on it. Yeah, the entire African continent, put that black on it now. Yeah, create your UNITA, put black on it. I'm not against this. The people are doing it for their survival. I mean, people may have different understanding, but it is the truth. Whether you against it or not, it's still going to exist because there are unknown forces behind this. There are unknown forces behind this. So whether you like it or not, it will exist because there are unknown forces behind this. When I say unknown forces, you know what I mean now. Let's continue here. I'm just bringing this because I want for black people to understand something. Yes. I want them to understand something. This is about unity among yourself. This is about recognizing who you are. This is about stop fighting among yourself. Now, inside the far-right community, excluding people on the basics of their race. Inside the far-right community, excluding people on the basics of their race. Not on the basis of crime committed, not on the basis of anything like against the law or something, but on the basics of race. Let's continue here. All right, let's read. You want a white nation. That's a question to the founder. You want a white nation. Build a white town. Eric Orwell says in one video posted on social media. It can be done. We are doing it. Let's continue here. As the Arkansas sun beat down, as the Arkansas sun beat down, dozens of men are hammering posts into the red brown F building, a fence to mark out the boundary, so that you so-called Negro, all right, fighting among yourself, so that you so-called Negro, when you go in that part of Arkansas, right, and you're walking, the boundary is there. You're going to see it. White only. Don't go there. It's a sign. Don't go there. If you go there, anything happen to you, you're on your own. You so-called Negro, you so-called black, you hate yourself. And that's what Malcolm X keep telling. Who told you to hate yourself? Fighting among yourself. Like I said, I have no reason bringing this. I love what they are doing. These people are fighting for their survival. So why should I be against it? These people want to find their own time to preserve their race. Why should I be against it if they say they don't need me there? Why? I have no reason to be against them. They don't need me. They don't need me. They don't want me to live there. They don't want me. I don't care. It is the truth. Why should you hate them? Why should you be against them? They say they want equality. They want no mixed race. In fact, they don't believe in it. Why should I force them to believe in something they don't want to believe in? Why should I force them to live a life they don't want to live? It's like we Africans fighting not to be under oppression. And then somebody telling me, oh, they hate me for fighting not to be under oppression. Now, you may say that scenario does not match, right? But again, that's how they feel. They don't want to live among anybody. They want to live to their own place and breed their own breed. And you heard the lady saying, that's why I played the video for you. You heard the lady, what she said. We are doing this for our children children, and our ancestor, our forefather that lived and came before us. This guy was never alive during slavery. This guy was never alive during colonization. But she's speaking based on what was done during slavery. She's speaking based on what was done during colonization. She's speaking based on what was done during Jim Crow. She's speaking based on what was done during Ferguson or Ferguson or whatsoever, equal but separate, whatsoever and thing. She's speaking based on those things. Because other than that, what did her forefather do that she want to remember them? That it is about them. Because that is what exactly her forefather did. White only. No black allowed. And she's doing it. Folks, people are uniting. Let's all unite too. And start fighting among ourselves. Put it here and there. Oh no, I'm not this. Oh no, we are this. Oh no, my bloodline is this. Oh no, I'm an East Indian, Black Indian. Oh no, I'm this. These are Europeans that came from different places. You don't see them fighting among themselves. Oh, I'm from Ukraine. I'm not from England. I'm not from Spain. Oh, I'm from Italy. I'm not from this. No. These are different Europeans that came here and they are fighting to preserve their forefather, right? Like I said, I'm only speaking on it because I want to give a message to the black people. Let's continue here. Let's continue here. Now, over the last years and a half, now listen to this. Over the last year and a half, right? Like I said, this thing been going on before Donald Trump came to power. There might be some hands behind these things. I want to believe. Don't come after me, right? I'm not saying there is no. I want to believe it could be true. So let's put it that way. Okay, let's continue. Over the last years and a half, high up in the hill, and who of the Ozark, the group has been working hard, leveling the land, laying road, building cabin. There are wall, a community center, and a school house where the children do their lesson. Basically, these people are not even part of the American curriculum. The American curriculum. They don't go by it. They have their own school building. They go there, they learn. Everything you think about, right? Like I said, I don't want to go deep, but let's continue here. Don't come after me. All right. Let's see here. The settlement spread over 160 acres. How did they get this land? Like I said, there should be some forces behind it, but let's continue. The settlement spread over 160 acres, and it is called Return to the Land. Return to the land. Now let that sink in. Return to the land. Why only? Return to the land. Why only settlement? Why only time? So that's sink in. All right, black people, keep fighting among yourself and don't unite and find solution to your problem. Let's continue. Return to the land. As founders say, it is an international community based around shared ancestry, right? Shared value, shared lineage. Okay, black people, be fighting among yourself. I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not this, I'm not. Be fighting among yourself. Be fighting among yourself. I'm not against what these people are doing. It is about them. I'm not against it. Absolutely not. Writing on X, they are more straightforward. We started a white only community. we started a white UNE community. Around 40 people live here and hundreds more from all around the world. You see this? Black people have God. You see these people? Should we hate them for this? I mean, why should we hate them? They are saying around 40 people live here and 100 more, 1,000 more, million more, billion more from all around the world have paid to be members. Listen to this, folks. You see what's going on here? Let me read this again. Around 40 people live here and hundreds more from all around the world have paid to be members. I'm not going into detail. Like I said, don't come for me. You can read it and understand for yourself, right? But listen to this. All right. I'm not going to say that. Let's go. Warning. This report contains themes of racism. They already warning you. It's a warning. This report contains themes of racism and homophobia, which some reader might find distressing. Now, let's see here. We will come to the video. We'll come to the video, right? Let's see something here. We'll come to the video. There are plenty of Nazi re-references on the group public chat on Telegram. Peter Caesar has posted the phrase 1488. 14th reference or refer to the 14th war, a white supremacy slogan, and H is the 18th letter of the alphabet, and so 88 means HH, which means hailed Hitler. He says that it is a phony comment, a throwback. Now, you black people, right? You African people, right? You will sit there and say Hitler was a bad man. Hitler was this. Hitler was that. Who told you Hitler was a bad man? Who told you Hitler was this or was that? Who told you that? Did Hitler kill black people? Did Hitler go to Africa and slaughter Africans? But that's a story that was written by somebody else. But the people who is supposed to refer to as Hitler, the people who do all the horrible things to Africans and the African continent, you don't talk about them. You don't mention them as hate people or as demon. You don't do that. But the man who did nothing to African, they are, or he is the man. You always talk about this, blah, 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 blah. But let's see what the white men say here about Hitler. You see, people will tell you Robert Mugabe was a dictator. Robert Mugabe was this, was that. And you yourself, you don't understand why when they say Robert Mugabe was a dictator, you don't understand. And you go, oh, because they don't want you to like Robert Mugabe or to take the fourth step of Robert Mugabe. They don't want you to understand what Robert Mugabe stood for before they call him dictator. They don't want you to understand what Robert Mugabe stood for before they put sanction on him. They don't want you to do that. They don't want you to understand why Idi Amin Adada was so hated. They don't want you to understand that. But they will tell you Idi Amin Adada had human body in his freezer. Those are the things that they will bring out to talk about Idi Amin Adada. But ask yourself, who Idi Amin Adada put in the freezer? But they will tell you Idi Amin Adada ate people. Idi Amin Adada did not eat people. If he had people in the freezer, Idi Amin Dada was planning a meshes. Idi Amin Dada was just paying back what was done to his people. You have to go do history. You have to learn. You have to read. The people who did a horrible thing against you write your history and bring it to you, and you take it. And you become to hate the people who were actually trying to revenge for you. But it makes it seem that Idi Amin Dada was the barman. When this Idi Amin Dada fought for Uganda, free Uganda from Israel, free Uganda from the imperialists. At that time, do you understand the time period of Idi Amin Dada? When he was taking businesses from white people, from the colonizer, from the imperialists, giving them to black people. You were just walking here, you take this business, and you take this business. Giving them for the 8 hour to leave the nation. You think these people will write a book and talk good about Idi Amin Dada? That is why history is very good. But see what they say about Hitler here. Let me see if I can find Hitler. Let me see here. Owen in his video has talked about the coming of a second Hitler. You heard that? Hey God. Owen in his video, he talked about the coming of second Hitler, saying he won't arrive unless people do the work. All right. So that means they understand what Hitler stood for the German. All right? For the interest of the German. And then Hitler did what he did. Because he was fighting for the German people interest. African, what is your interest? What do you fight for? What is your fight? Or your interest is to fight among yourself? Your interest is to destroy your own people? Kill your own people? Let's continue here. Like I said, I don't hate what the people are doing here. It's a message I'm giving to the black people. Stupid people. Well, there I am honest. There I am. Honestly, I am addressing the sentiment of my audience. You heard that? I am addressing the sentiment of my audience. Black people, African people, who are your audience? Who are your audience? AU, who are your audience? EQUA, who are your audience? I mean, black organization, who are your audience? Black reporters, who are your audience? African president, who are your audience? African journalists, black journalists, who are your audience? Let me read. Says, Hitler is a very controversial historical figure. I think the mainstream view is one-sided. I think the mainstream view is one-sided. It is informed by World War II propaganda. It is informed by World War II propaganda, but also the contrary position that Hitler did nothing wrong. That means, that many people online says that also a one-side view. So in other words, this man is telling us, what you heard about Hitler, when somebody says he's a bad man or he was a bad man, that's one side. When somebody come and tell you, oh, Hitler was a good man, that's another side too. So you have to listen to both sides, right? So when it is in their interest, you have to listen to both sides. But when it is in the interest of African, you only have to listen to one side, the propaganda. You see, you so-called Africans, journalists, reporters, writers, you got to be careful when you are quotation done by the West. Let me continue here. I think all historical figures are complex, multidimensional, but when I say you are going to have to wait for that new Hitler, you see, for that new Hitler. Some of you so-called Africans, you don't even want to talk about Robert Mugabe. You don't even want for your child to be called Robert Mugabe. You don't even want to learn about Robert Mugabe in class. You don't want to. Because somebody somewhere sat down and wrote a story about Robert Mugabe. And you took it. Not even questioning yourself. Why was Robert Mugabe so hated? But Robert Mugabe was a friend of the Queen of England. Robert Mugabe was a friend of Washington, D.C. In fact, they fought to bring this man to power. In fact, they put him there. All of a sudden, why? Let's continue this. You so-called Africans. You are going to have to wait for the new Hitler to arise. I am not saying you are going to have to wait for a new person to start a new Holocaust. I am saying you are going to wait for a charismatic leader who is going to advocate for your interest, because that is how a lot of people see Hitler. Because Hitler fought for his interest. Hitler fought for his people. So you see here, this man is saying he's Hitler because he's going to fight for his people. Africans, who are you? Who are you using as your representation to fight for your people? That's my question to you. Now, let's watch some of the video. So you see, these are all laying here, right? That's your settlement there. Which I'm not against. I love what they're doing. I mean, who don't want to fight for themselves? Who don't want to fight for their race?
You know, our culture.
And that culture effectively was saying this is a white culture, a whites only place.
White American culture. Yeah, not just white, but white American.
But what this sounds like is bringing back segregation. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, I mean, it's free association. So we're not trying to keep other people down. This is a small settlement in the middle of the Ozarks.
But they are being kept out.
Well, I mean, you don't let everyone into your home. What we've done here is establish a place where we have control over who our neighbors are, and that is just for the sake of preserving.
All right, you don't let everyone into your home. You so-called African on the African continent. You let everyone into your home. You let everyone into your culture. You let everyone to know about you. You expose yourself. And then come back and say, oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. You don't let everyone into your home, into your space. But when you see Europeans come on the African continent, you see that you have met your God. You worship them. Then your own black brothers and sisters who are coming from the diaspora going to the African continent, you hate them. You don't even want to see them. But when you see a non-black, you want worship. You want open up to them. I understand we are not like them. I understand, you know, but for God's sake, sometimes we need to change some things now.
Based around shared ancestry, a long-winded way of saying something really quite simple.
I think we would generally be called far right, sure.
It's called Return to the Land. and they invited me in.
A lot of people are going to be, why are you making Nazi references?
Right. Well, why wouldn't I?
A seemingly bucolic and sometimes surreal experience. But this is built on a radical modern premise, made possible because of a new political and technological moment. One with strong ties to the most active far-right groups in the US. Instead of taking to the streets, they are building their own for generations to come.
It's important for me to do this for my ancestors, my friends, my family, my children,
Our neighbors.
It wouldn't be controversial for any other racial group to do the same thing.
I think it'd be quite controversial.
Well, if you don't have rules against it, then, anyone of any race can come and be your neighbor, and they're watching the news, which is telling you that white people are, the cause of all your problems and all the ills of society, and suddenly, your children are much less safe because there's a lot of violence, anti-white violence happening to white people and white children, and so
specifically to motivate.
Anyway, I will take that out, right? That's what I gotta say. So I'm not against it. Hey, I'm not against it. I mean, I understand the horrible history of the war. Again, let me put that one of the war, right? Let me not be specific. Don't come for me. I understand the horrible, horrible history of the war when it comes to certain people. Because I don't want for somebody to say, hey, but Frank, how will you say you're not against it? Hey, do you know the history of this country? Hey, trust me, I know. I know the history of this country. I know the history of Africa. I know what slavery did. I know what slave labor did. I know what colonization did. I know what exploitation on the African continent. I mean, I know everything. But again, I'm here saying I have no problem with it. Now, my question to you is, what are we going to do as Black people? Are we going to have our own settlement? Are we going to unite? Because peoples are uniting. Yeah. Peoples are uniting. And this is deeper than what you think, but I'm not going to say that here. Yeah. It's deeper than what you think, right? It's deeper than what you think. This is also safety measure. What you see going on there is also safety measure. Like I said, I don't want to go deep, man. I don't want to. It keep coming, but I don't want to go deep. Don't come for me. I don't want to go deep. All right, and I'm not going to go deep. It's also a safety measure because things going to happen. I'm telling you. All right, let me stop because I'm going to say something and yeah, and then I don't want to make it seem that hey, I'm the one saying this, I'm the one, I'm threatening, I'm this, but it's going to happen. Yeah, it's going to happen. So what you see going on there is also safety measure. You heard what it said? People from around the world, white people from around the world have paid, have contributed, have paid. Something is going to happen. My God. Anyway, let me stop. Maybe in the nearby future, as it's happening, then we'll say, but for now, I don't want anybody coming after me. So I will leave it there. But what I can say is, Black people, you have to unite because something is coming. Something is coming. And when it comes, our survival based on unity. If not, when it happens, we will be killing each other. We will be going against each other. We will be harming each other. While people, on the other hand, will be protecting themselves. I don't want to say it, but they keep coming. You know what? Let me stop. Let me stop here. But all I gotta say is you have to unite. Black people, unite. Stop fighting among yourself. You have to unite because something is coming. Okay, let me just say this, right? Let me put it this way, right? World War III will be fought no matter what, right? And I can tell you, World War III is already ongoing. Yeah, let me. I think that would be a better way to put it because I don't want to say something. Yeah, that would be a better way to put it because everybody know about World War I, World War II, World War what, right? So everybody know about that. So let me put it that way. So World War III is actually going on right now. All right, it's going on right now, but you may not understand, but it's going on. It's building. It's building up. It's the momentum for World War III is building. It's accumulating, and then it's going to build, then reach to the peak because World War III is actually going on right now. It's happening. Do you know how many millions of people have died? Or you wanted to come to your doorstep before you know World War III is on? World War III is happening, and it's already going on. All right, and it's going to get to the peak, and it's just going to poof. When it happens, it's going to be about protection. That's what I can say. Like, I don't, let me take the video before I say something that I'm not supposed to say. All right. So you got to go. Bye. Yeah. So I take that video out and then I'll just play the last video and then, you know, we'll call it for the day. The last video, I'm not going to explain nothing. Just going to play, you know, and then, yeah, but yeah. Hopefully I see you, is it? Oh, I took it out. Hold on. All right, let me play this video. Let me play this, and then while looking for my last video. All these calls.
Coming out to voice out the truth. Now I dare you to pay attention to this video and watch it from the beginning till the end to hear exactly what this our lovely, beautiful auntie from the Asian part of the world have to say about Africa. It is a must-watch video, and trust me, you will definitely going to enjoy it. Now kindly pay attention to hear exactly what she has to say. Attention, please.
Africa, this is not a physical war. This is not violence. This is not rebellion with God. This is a soul revolution, a return not to a religion, but to return to yourself, to your truth, to your divine identity. I didn't make this to gain your attention. I didn't came here for fame or followers. I came because something ancient in my spirit told me to speak. And if you're hearing me this now, it means your spirit is ready as well. Africa, you are not forgotten as I told you. You were never lost. They only covered your life with system and stories. But hear me now. You are the root chakra of the earth, the heartbeat of the planet, the soul of ancient wisdom, the rhythm of all beginnings. And when the root awakens, the world will tremble. Listen, my black brother and sister. That's why they distracted you. Why they give you religions to kneel to. Why they stripe your name, your tongue, your land, because they feared your awakening. But what they really feared was your memory returning, your power returning, your spirit rising. You were never meant to be safe. You are the savior. Your bloodline has been waiting for. Your skin holds ancient codes. Your voice is thunder. Your breath is the wind of prophecy. So hear me now. Wake up, Africa. You are not cursed. You are chosen. You are not behind. You are the beginning. You are not weak. You are the key. You don't need to escape. You don't need to bow. You don't need permission to rise. God lives within you, and the system knows it. That's why they work so hard to keep you asleep. But now the time has come. The silence is breaking. The roots are rumbling, and the earth is ready to rise. So rise, not in hatred, but in remembrance. Rise not for revenge, but for your rebirth. Rise not in war, but in soul fire. Because when Africa rises, the matrix cracks, the world shakes, and the new earth begins. This is the return of the root. This is the revolution of spirit. This is the awakening of you. So every African soul who found me, this is not an accident. Your ancestor lead you here. Now rise, roar, and remember who you are.
Okay, wow. Honestly, this video really bust my brain. I so much love this video. In fact, as I am watching this video, I am feeling good. And that is why I told you that this is a must-watch video. Because this beautiful lady here that you just watched on this video has just spoken exactly the truth that everybody, every African blood really needs to hear. And every single thing that she has said on this video is nothing but absolutely facts. I am telling you nothing but the gospel truth. You know, sometimes it baffles me that whenever I posted a video like this, you will see some gullible ones dive into the comment section and begin to insult themselves. Just like the other time, I posted a video where a white
businesses with AI, while the only AI you know is ChatGPT. It's 2025.
Local population moving towards food sovereignty. They're encouraging local businesses to come back. There's a local businessman that's come back and set up a electric car taxi business. Encouraged by the business, encouraged by the government. These are the things that's happening. They're in Niger used to get 6 to 8% of the royalties from the uranium mined in Niger. I'll repeat, 6 to 8% of the uranium mined in Niger, the Nigerian government would receive royalties for. Yeah. The same company, Orania, would give Kazakhstan 30 to 40% of the royalties. How does that work? Huh?
6-8% versus 30-40%.
Exactly. How does that work? It's because you installed neo-colonial government after neo-colonial government. You agree a 6 to 8%, but you agree behind under the table something else. Yeah. So the reason why people in Niger are filling football stadiums, filling the streets to support their government is because they know. They try to describe the African as if we're just docile, unintelligent people that don't know what's going on, that don't know we're being robbed. Now they've kicked out this firm, and now they've taken the uranium. Sorry, not the uranium. The uranium, and they've increased the global price of uranium because they're now renegotiated all of their deals. What we're seeing in Niger in 2024 had a GDP growth of between 10 and 12%. Yeah. Before the revolution that happened in July 2024.
When I started Walton Goggins goggle glasses, I needed a website. Figuring out how to make one was pretty hard on the old noggin. But with GoDaddy Aero, I can just tell it what I want. And it used.
Niger was the second poorest country in the world. Yeah. Now it's one of the fastest growing economies in the world.
Wow.
So these revolutions are changing the lives of the people on the ground. People don't have an infatuation for men in military uniform. Ideally, they wouldn't be done by men in military uniform. But if the men in military uniform are those that are politically conscious and understand what's going on, then if they're the people to do the job, then so be it. And people can see the results on the ground. Terrorism, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger had become the epicenter of terrorism. But you know, before France entered the fight against terrorism, before the US entered the fight for terrorism, in quote, there was like less than 100 terrorist attacks within the whole Sahel region. It's increased by 8,000%
when they got in.
When they got in, yeah. So there's an interview of Ibrahim Traore, which was in France, which we translated through our comrade in Burkina Faso, where he's saying the story of Ibrahim Traore is he was a fighter on the ground, fighting these terrorists, They're seeing BS by these French troops. They're like, we're risking our lives. I'm losing comrades left, right, and center. The French are meant to be helping us. They show up way after the fight is done. What's this about? They have the most high-tech military equipment, high-tech military aircraft, but yet they're showing up after the fight's done. He's saying in this interview, which we translated and posted certain parts, he's saying they would see planes flying up above, dropping off weapons to the terrorists. That is the trigger for the revolution. Yeah? Wow. Yeah, he says this completely ignored. And there's a few articles here and there, but nobody will republish the video. Yeah? Because they know people don't read.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not the headline of the article. The article will be about something else, and it's in the middle there somewhere. So they know only very few people are going to get access to that information. But if someone asks them, why didn't you cover it? They go, oh, it's here. You know, it's in this article. So it's covered in the mainstream media, but covered in a very clever way. Where, you know, and they'll say stuff like the military leaders in Mali allege this, the Burkina Faso military leaders allege this, as opposed to the leader of the president of Burkina Faso, who was on the front lines, says he saw this. You know what I mean? It's a different framing. It's a different framing. So that's why they're happening, because of the terrorism, because of the infrastructure, because of these exploitative mining contracts. People understood we have things in this country, but yet we're poor. There's a Parente quote where he goes, "Africa's not poor; it's just African people are poor."
But the land isn't poor.
Yeah, and it's so true. Africa isn't poor.
So richest.
We're just poor.
Yeah.
As Africans, we're just poor. Add that up, do the equation. How does that work?
But why?
Exactly.
Why are African people poor?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, when you start getting the answers, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you, because let me tell you something. When Traore got in, the first few months, I was like, let me observe him first.
Smart.
Yeah, because people were asking me, what do you think about Traore? You think? I'm like, relax. Because, you know, we have gotten a lot of disappointment.
Yes.
So, especially me, as a person who's really passionate about Africa, I didn't want to rush into praising him.
Yeah.
I was like, let me just observe him for some months. And now I'm like, yeah.
The real deal.
Yeah, he's real.
Still, my son was born. My second son was born February 14th, born on Valentine's Day. His middle name is Sankara.
Oh.
I was thinking, shall I go with Traore? I was like, it's too early.
Too early.
Let me wait till he's finished, because you never know. So what we'll say so far about Ibrahim Traore, he's done a fantastic job so far. But people need to keep all of our leaders accountable. Yeah? All of our leaders. Even him. Our African stream, our audience kept us accountable. Because anyone can stray from the path. Anybody. Anybody that thinks that they can't stray from the path is not aware of danger. Anybody can stray from the path. But so far, he's done an impeccable job. And he's got our full support.
Langley.
Yeah.
Man, what do you think about that?
That's an interesting story. Because so for the audience, Michael Langley is the head of AFRICOM. He's changed now. He got demoted because he did such a terrible job.
Yeah.
He did such a terrible job with Ibrahim Traore. He was the head of AFRICOM. Thanks for that correction. So he made this ridiculous statement where he says, Ibrahim Traore.
What happens inside your brain 30 minutes after eating eggs? What's growing inside your brain right now could be wiping out your memories as we speak. Memory loss is completely reversible. You may not realize it, but the real reason behind frequent forgetfulness has nothing to do with age or stress. And I know this because I lived.
Is using the gold reserves to provide security for himself. Yeah.
Mm.
Now let's just deconstruct what he says. Do you think Ibrahim Traore's security budget is smaller than the US president's security budget? No, his security budget is smaller than the US president.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
The US
yeah.
president, when he moves,
Mhm.
when they fly everywhere, they have to have a detour plane, and then they have to have fighter jets flying beside them,
secret,
and then they have to send out these signals, which means I and you can't use our phone. So there's a bunch of stuff, and every US former president is provided with security for life.
Yeah, for life.
For life. So
what do they call secret
service?
Secret service.
Yeah, and they've all got the earpieces.
Oh yeah. Of course.
Yeah,
probably like billions of dollars.
Yeah. And so Donald Trump has had a few assassination attempts on his life. Ibrahim Traore has had several, not as many as been reported. There's a lot of fake news that said it's been 19 assassination attempts.
Yeah.
It's not been 19. I think it's around 6, which is still crazy.
It's still crazy.
It's still crazy.
Span of 2.5 years.
Yes, exactly.
But how does he go through that stuff? How does he do that?
But I mean, anyone that wants to do the job that they're doing has to know, if I'm going to nationalize mines, if I'm going to take money from these imperialists, people are going to come after me. You don't step into that world not aware of the danger.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure he's aware, and it's a decision he's decided to take. But anyway, back to Langley. A sovereign president of a sovereign country is entitled to spend money on security.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's a weird line to go with in terms of attack. But anyway, when he made that statement, something happened which made me so proud to be an African. Something I've not witnessed while I've been on this earth for 36 years. Yeah. He made that statement, and protests were called around the world. Protest in London, protest in the US, protest in Jamaica, protest in Canada. There was an attempted protest in Nigeria, but they shut it down before it could get started. They arrested the leaders. They did a Facebook post and they went and arrested the leaders straight away.
But there were some protests in some parts of Africa.
Yes, protests in Africa. And that showed something. These new Africans ain't taking the shit that our forefathers took.
You know why?
Yeah.
It's because of platforms like yours. I think your platform had something to do with it.
Maybe. I hope so.
It is.
I hope so.
You guys.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But it was so beautiful to see. And these weren't small protests. Protests in London was huge. A guy had this huge portrait of Ibrahim Traore. And everyone was cussing out Africom.
Yeah.
Everyone was cussing out Langley. And then he got demoted. Yeah. That is African power in full display. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now in 2011, I was at university in 2011. That didn't happen with Libya. Yeah. That was before, social media had the reach that it has now. And it was captured by reactionary elements. So people were cheering when Gaddafi got killed and, I hate to say this, sodomized on camera.
Yeah, that was...
People were cheering. When Hillary Clinton said, "We came, we saw, he died," people thought it was funny. That won't happen with Ibrahim Traore.
It won't.
Mark my words, that won't happen with Ibrahim Traore. And so, yes, they're trying to kill him. Yes, they want to remove him. But they're going to have a very, very difficult job. And I think they're aware, if they do kill him, he's potentially more dangerous as a martyr than he is alive. And so, yes, they're trying to kill him. Yes, they want to remove him. But they're going to have a very, very difficult job. And I think they're aware, if they do kill him, he's potentially more dangerous as a martyr than he is alive. So it's not something that they don't want to do.
Yeah.
Plus, the Burkina Bays have taken steps where it's very difficult for that to do. He's surrounding himself with some of the most loyal men around him. Then there's civilian volunteer force that sleep day and night in the square outside the presidential palace.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be easy. The best thing that they could do is which they're trying to do, is they're trying to discredit him with this
propaganda
that he's some sort of ethnic nationalist targeting the Fulani. It's an old tired trick, but this is what they're running with. What I've noticed since they failed with the Langley, I've noticed there's an explosion of all these BS articles about how the Burkina Faso army is targeting the Fulani tribe, and there's Fulani people are in the leadership positions in the army. There's a minister, so it's just bullshit. There's obviously always been, people within countries that are relatively large that are dissatisfied with their allocation of wealth. So you're always going to have a Tuareg separatist movement, and the imperialists are always going to exploit that type of movement. But what they forget to tell you is this separatist nationalist movement by the Tuareg people came about in 2011. You know why it came about in 2011? Do you know the history? I'll tell you the history. In 2011, when they tried to take out Muammar Gaddafi, they had to sell some lies to do that.
Why don't skeletons fight each other? Because they don't have any guts. If that made you smile, you'll...
One of them was Gaddafi was giving his soldiers Viagra to go rape women, proven to be. The second lie, and this is the one that was most dangerous, and the one that we're living with the legacy, is Gaddafi has hired African mercenaries to fight the rebels. What happened was Libya, one of the biggest countries in Africa, has a population of 4 to 6 million. There's not enough people for jobs. So he had, for a country that big to develop, you need immigration. We're in Africa. African migrants are going to come and work, and they did come and work, and Gaddafi encouraged them to come and work. So these same African migrants that have been in Libya for years were now all turned into mercenaries. So these are the same people.
Propaganda.
That's the propaganda. Turned into mercenaries by the propaganda. They weren't mercenaries; they were just migrants. These. So what happened was the Libyan people turned on anyone with dark skin. That's what led to the open slave markets. The Tuareg people, because they're nomadic and they come from places like Mali, Burkina Faso, and elsewhere in the Sahel, they have darker skin. They were well treated by Gaddafi. To this day, they still sing songs about Gaddafi. They were being persecuted by the Libyans, the rebels post his death. So they start leaving Libya. And they're like, okay, we're not safe anywhere until we have our own homeland. So this is what's led to this separatist nationalist move. It was there before, but this is what's led to its prevalence.
And now Libya is in a mess.
So these same separatists have gone to Mali. And so this is what the some of the conflict is about. But the mainstream media don't say this.
They don't say that.
They don't say this, and all they say is, the Mali's persecuting the Tuareg, Burkina Faso's persecuting the Fulani. It's nonsense, but it is an effective tool to try and weaken revolution. So Africans need to be aware of what's going on and what the origins of this is.
You know what caught my eye was it a year ago when Obama said that the operation in Libya was one of the biggest mistakes he's ever done. I was like, you leave office and then now you say, yo, I really f***ed up there. Come on. What are you saying?
They always say that. They always say, they don't. What's funny about it is they never say the invasion was wrong. They say the post-war planning.
Oh, okay.
So the same, George Bush says, he never says invading Iraq was wrong.
He says
the post-war planning was wrong. No, if you destroy a prosperous nation like Libya, which was the wealthiest in Africa, highest life expectancy, highest living conditions, most women in university, most women educated, the list goes on and on. Biggest proportion of people that own their own house, biggest proportion of people with access to healthcare. The list goes on and on. When you destroy a country like that, you create a vacuum where the biggest and baddest rule.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Where the biggest and baddest rule. So that's the issue. That's there's no scenario where you can do that and it doesn't end in chaos, where it doesn't end in civil war. Libya is now 2 countries, but we could have told him in 2011 it's 2 countries, and I don't have all the grey hair that Obama has. So how can I tell him as a young man and he doesn't know? He knew what he was doing, and he thought it was a price worth playing.
And it's a black president.
Yeah.
Who has Kenyan ties.
Yeah.
You know how painful it is.
Yeah. But that's always the case, though. They bring in this person for that reason. So Obama comes in 2009. Comes in 2008. 2008.
9 January.
Yeah, January. Yeah, you're right. 2008 elected. 2009 it comes in. AFRICOM is established at the end of 2007.
Yes.
It really gets going during Obama. Yeah. So he was obviously they say elected. He was selected so that the US empire can pivot towards the continent. Do you think they could have invaded Libya under George Bush? Impossible. The optics.
Yeah.
White man.
White president.
Invaded an African country. But if it's a black man, maybe he's just doing it for democracy.
Let's now. But you know what? When it comes to Traore, I think they hired the white boy to finish the job. I even said it in Lynn Gugi's show. I hope it doesn't happen. God forbid. I hope it doesn't happen. But I think that's why Trump put the white boy to finish the job, because Langley failed.
Maybe.
What do you think?
I think, if I'm being honest, Trump isn't concerned about Africa the same way the Biden administration is. It's for voting reasons. So he's pivoting towards Latin America. Yeah.
Really?
Because Florida, which has all of these Cuban exiles, Venezuelan exiles, all of the right wing from Latin America all reside in Florida. And they demand the US empire turn up the hatchet, turn up the dial when it comes to Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua, and so on. So you've just seen Trump sanction Cuban doctors. Cuban doctors which go around the world risking their life fighting polio, and they've all been sanctioned by the US empire. So I don't think, maybe I'm wrong.
Well, you had like 5 presidents the other day.
Yes, I know, but still, the whole body language in that meeting was that the African presidents were more pleased to be there than Trump wants to have them. He's just not smart enough to realize the importance of Africa. He's one of those old school racists. Where he just thinks where he believes in all of the Eurocentric tropes, that it's a poor place where there's not really much going on, etc., etc. As opposed to the Biden administration, which realizes the future of the whole planet rests in this continent. Now, I might be wrong. That's just my initial impression.
Let this soft mineral melt under your tongue.
All right. Thank you, folks. This is the last video I just wanted to play. But let me just say one thing here before we can go, right? America, my face is on the camera. USA, Washington, D.C. It is a shame that Africans have to think this way about you. It is a shame, Washington, D.C., that Black people have to sit on social media to discuss you like this. It is a shame that we will have to sit on social media to discuss you like this, to say, oh, the same way they killed Gaddafi, the same way they killed Amilcar Cabral, the same way they killed Thomas Sankara, the same way they killed Amilcar Cabral, the same way they killed Patrice Lumumba, is the same way they want to kill Ibrahim Traore. Because there is nothing good with talking about you. It is a shame. And to the extent you still want to continue to carry on your act, And entirely, we can't go lengthily to discuss about you holistically to say, you know, oh, America is good. America. When I say you bow, but the truth is, we can't discuss entirely that your goodness without talking about your badness. Your badness shadow your goodness. That's the point I want to make here. Your badness shallow your goodness. It is a shame. Look at the whole time in that video. These two young guys sat down to discuss about you, America. The whole time they talk, your badness shallow your goodness. And you can't think about it. And you think this current generation of Africans, this current generation of black people will sit and watch you do what you've been doing? You really think so? Anytime someone sit to discuss about you, your badness will always shadow your goodness. Why? Can you go sit down on a drawing board and think twice that you are in a different time period? Because the path you've been on, and if you continue with that path, you're going to have no option but to fail. That is the truth. If you feel you want to listen, that's fine. You don't want to listen, hey, I don't care. Do what you want to do. Because like we've been saying, you only do what is in your best interest. Because sometimes doing what is in your best interest does not mean it is always the right thing to do. Okay, America? Like we've been saying, right? What you do, it is in your interest. So that's why you're doing it. But the truth is, again, always doing what you feel it is in your interest does not always mean it is the best things to do. That is a fact. So what you've been doing, it's been working in your interest, and you feel, say it's been working, you should continue. But no, not because you've been doing it and been happening and been working means that it was right or it is right. The only reason why sometimes, in most cases, you've been doing it and you've been succeeding is because the people to whom you've been doing it to were also participants of it because they were ignorant. In other words, they were doing your dirty work. Like Obama went and did your dirty work. Like the African nations, the African continent, the African president, the African leader sat down there and watched you. Along with NATO, you went and did the dirty work through a black man. Like, listen to what the gentleman said in our video. George Bush could not have killed Muammar Gaddafi because it was going to look like, oh, a white man in 2011, in this 21st century, is still hunting down the black people. It's still hunting down black revolutionary. It's still hunting down black leader. Because imagine, Hillary Clinton told us 30 good years they've been finding a way to kill Gaddafi. You watch it, I mean, you saw the video when she said, we went, we saw, we killed, we did, right? And then she said, 30 years we've been after Gaddafi. So it reminds me that what this man said, this brother said in the video is true. That George Bush could not have killed Gaddafi because it will look like it will send a signal and we will know that why would a white man go and kill an African leader in this 21st century? So they put Obama in power, not elected. Yeah, you may say elected, right? But like I said, America do not practice democracy. They elect, they select their leader. They don't elect, they select their leader. The election has go on. It is a show for the world to see, right? So that it can back the narrative as their democratic institution or nation for the world to see it. Yeah, but the truth is, they know who going there. They know who going there. They absolutely know who going there. You may say, "Oh, how about Trump and Kamala Harris? Were they in favor of Trump?" Don't get it twisted. What is being discussed behind the scene, you never see it. You never. What is being discussed behind the scene, you never see it. They know. You know the time period right now with Russia, China. You think they could have trusted Kamala Harris to take that place? Come on, man. The point here is, right, Biden was old already. Okay? Biden was already old. He can't make it. He don't have that strength again. Okay? He don't have that strength again. So they needed someone who don't care. They needed someone just like that Putin. They needed someone just like Xi Jinping. They needed someone just like North Korea leader. They needed someone too tough. So don't get it twisted and sit down and say, "Oh, how about the election that went on? You think the people wanted to put Trump there?" Like, la la. They knew behind the scene, Kamala Harris couldn't handle it. Because you're looking at nations forming, joining alliances with the BRICS. To the extent, you even see Europe even falling apart from the US and saying, "You know what? US is powerful than us." England is saying US is powerful than Germany is saying US is powerful than England is saying we can fight Russia. Germany is saying we are beyond that. So it is even now, all right, it is even now the Germans are fighting to build up their military. Because Germany does not have military as equal to World War I, World War II. They don't. They don't. So people don't listen to, I mean, some of you do, but most people, they don't see what's going on. It is right now, Germany has fallen apart, building herself, building her military. It is right now, even England, building her military because she has taken a step back from the US. I'm not saying totally, but she has taken a step back from the US. So Kamala Harris couldn't handle that job based on current situation. You think the people don't know? So they knew Trump was the right man at that time. The same way they knew Obama was the right man at that time with McCain. Look, don't get it twisted. If it was not for a reason that they wanted for Obama to go there, that McCain are going to put there to give him his last honor as a prisoner of war. But they had an agenda. And that agenda, Obama was the one to fulfill the agenda. They put him there. Why you think Obama got there? He told you strictly, "I am not a president for black people. I'm not." You better open your eye. And when he got that straight, what he started doing? He started carrying on this clandestine deal and thing. Oh, before long, he in Kenya already talking about LGBT when we have a lot of issues, complex issues on the African continent. You think Obama just wake up by himself and went and start preaching about LGBT? They know McCain could not have gone to Africa and be talking about LGBT. It will be like, "What kind of white man here? So that your culture there." But the black man, the black image was used to do these things, and then we will be silent because we will think it is the right thing because we see the black man doing it. So that is why by the time Obama got power, what they said now it is the right time to take down Gaddafi. Those are the statements they made. Even Obama made a statement. It was the right time to go in for Gaddafi. When Obama made that statement, he was quoting from his slave master. Just the same way, what the name? Leonard Thomas Greenfield made a statement that if Africa have a permanent seat or a veto power on the United Nations, it will make the United Nations dysfunctional. She was not the one speaking. She was not the one that said those things. Her slave master said those things to her. So she was speaking to the slave master. They told her that no, even though you are a bad person, you are not going out there to advocate for Africa. These are the things that you're going to say. Because the truth here is, if Africa have a veto power or a permanent seat on the United Nations will become dysfunctional. So those were the words that she said, those are the words from a slave master. So when Obama said it was the right time to go in for Gaddafi, he was speaking the words of his slave master. They knew what they put him there for. You think, look, election-wise, you may think, oh, we voted, or the people, or Camila. No. She was not going to get there. It was not the right time for her. Based on the time period, based on the time. They knew Donald Trump was the right man for this position at this current time. Don't mind the media, and then they will come and say, oh, Trump is doing that, he's doing that. Don't mind the media. They have to keep that form, that narrative, so that you can understand what is going on. So that you can understand. And their aim is never to make you understand. And that is why even Obama said democracy is failing because the people are no longer willing or no longer have interest into the media. And that is not why democracy is failing, because the people no longer have interest in the media. No, because the people have realized the media is a liar. They don't report facts. The people have realized that the media and the government work hands in hands. So when the media speak, it's actually the government coming to speak. Now, it might be true, right? The media may have certain government that they have interest in, like Fox, like CNN, right? But at the end of the day, they report on issues, right, that will not be an issue to the state. No media entity gave any report that would be an issue to the state. That the African so-called journalists, media, and that can do those things because they don't understand how media personality is supposed to work. They don't understand. They don't understand. They carry their hate towards that leader, and then they allow outside influence to come and buy them, and then they give report. Now new is going to be an issue to the state, to their own country that is they live and serve. No media in the US will give any report that will be a threat, that they know it will be an issue. It will never happen. They will only get report so that you, the citizens, right, will not think twice. You'll be discussing among yourselves, oh, this, that's all they do, because they want to confuse you. But unlike the African continent, they don't do that. They give report, they bash their own government, they bash their whatsoever. Now, I'm not saying, right, if the government is doing bad, don't say it. But most of these African media, they don't talk about the good of the government because they are being bought. Nothing. But anyway, let's come back to the US. So that was what Trump was elected for, or Trump was elected for. The people wanted Trump. That I will tell you, they wanted Trump to be the president. Kamala Harris couldn't handle. Yeah, Kamala Harris couldn't handle this current situation. She couldn't. I'm telling you this. They put Trump that they wanted Trump to come. Don't mind all that media thing that are going on, or the assassination attempt, all our thing, that level. If they really want that thing, they really wanted to peer. I'm not going to call him. Don't come for me. If they really want to peer, it was going to happen. Yeah. The people are sophisticated. If they really wanted to peer, it was going to happen. Yeah. Look at JFK. They wanted to peer and they peer. Look at Malcolm X. They wanted to PR and a PR. Look at Dr. King. They wanted to PR and a PR. Even though he did not die until he got in the hospital. But because they wanted to PR him, when he got in the hospital, they PR him for that. They buy him. You see? So if they really wanted for Trump to buy, they were going to buy him. So that's the truth of the matter. What's happening, you think, pay attention. Kamala Harris couldn't handle, she couldn't handle the US with this current situation going on. What countries are allying? The BRICS, you know how many people the BRICS are pulled? You see Trump the last time taking decision on tariff, you think, look, Kamala Harris couldn't handle the situation, it's the truth. Let me not push it too long. But anyway, this is today's presentation. Thank you for hanging in, share, subscribe. We are targeting certain number of subscribers before the year end. So so keep sharing it. And if you are not yet subscribed, please do. So we don't want you to just get a notification because you like it and stuff. No, subscribe. And, nothing going to happen to you. Nobody going to come after you. All right. Uhuru done. Yeah. Nobody going to come after you. So subscribe. All right. So on this channel, this WCC, we know how we present. All right. Yeah. They know. You think they don't follow up, but they pay attention to languages. So we know. We know what we say. So we're not stupid because we know, the monitor, they can come for anytime. They can erase our channel anytime like they did to African stream. So we know all of that. So that's what we're presenting. There are some things, it may come, we don't say it. We just we cross cut and we leave it right there. But we say in a way that you will understand. All right. But don't be afraid, subscribe. Nobody coming after because we know how we present. Peace, family. See you next week.
The white power structure, because that's all we have in America. And the white power structure today is just as much interested in perpetuating slavery as the white power structure was 100 years ago. Only now they use modern methods of doing so. And realizing that the black people in this country are waking up and